So I normally don't do news episodes, but here's I just decided to do this because it's actually impacting the community pretty majorly. So I'm just gonna throw that out there, right? So recently there was this Cyber Monday for UR unit guaranteed poll. Uh, there's a lot of drama going on about it being rigged, uh, and basically the streamers were able to stir a big enough community to basically uh, send complaints to Gumi that Gumi actually sent out a reply. And unfortunately, this is not the reply we were looking for. It's different from the one from Japan, right? Japan said, "Hey, we're sorry. We pulled them all down. We paid everybody. We refunded everybody's visitor, and we put out the new banners, all right? And we gave you a bunch of free stuff as compensation, all right? Here they're just saying, yeah, it's RNG, live with it. That's what they're saying, right? Uh, and it's funny, everybody points out, you're gonna use Sotoli? Really? Sotoli, the main bad guy. You're gonna use the deceptive main bad guy as the thing for the post, right? That's just admitting you're guilty. Anyways, that's not the main point of me making the video because to me, whether or not those polls were rigged, uh, in the small scheme of things, meaning just that poll, whether or not it was rigged, didn't matter to me, right? Because super whale account, um, it didn't it 4URs isn't gonna make or break my account, and there wasn't anyone that I didn't have that I was looking for. So I didn't care. I really was just rolling it for the video. And to be honest, the way I look at the rig polls, it's 5 to 6. There's 5 to 6 buckets. You can get one of 5 or 6 different buckets worth of units, and they sorted them out. I guess that's about that's everyone's idea of is it rigged, right? That's what they mean by rigged, meaning you don't meaning I guess what they mean by rigged is you don't each because the URs are in position 1, 2, I think it's 2, 3, and 4, and basically what they're saying is my slots 2, 3, and 4 and 10 weren't individually rolled upon; they were rolled on in a bucket, and I got rolled into bucket 1, 2, 3, or 4, and I got the corresponding units. So that's what they mean by rigged. Uh, that you can only get you can only get like one of 4 or 5 sets of units, and that your units weren't rolled upon independently. Um, which may be the case, but at the end of the day, it didn't really harm me that much, so I didn't really need to make a video about it. Someone actually downvoted that video, which I think was like, oh, nice. I got 10 subscribers and someone downvoted a video. I'm a real YouTuber now. Um, and obviously, I just make small arena and PvP videos for the game because I like the game. Like I don't do news. I don't try to get involved in dramas. The only reason I'm trying to get involved into this, in this fiasco, is because um, because this is getting pretty out of hand. And you can tell from my tone where I stand. The way I look at the game is it's like this, right? Hate the company of the game. I mean, Gumi makes a bunch of games. This is my first Gumi game, but everybody's played plenty of Gumi games. Enough that they distrust the company, which is fine. Like you can hate the company, whatever. I don't care. Just don't hate the game. Don't kill the game. All right. Everybody's like, oh, I'm quitting the game. People are like, oh, hey, I gotta find a new guild now because all my guild members quit the game because of either EX jobs or because of rigged banners, whatever. They quit the game. Can you quit the game? Yeah, go ahead. I mean, you can quit the game if you want, but you really got to think about what's the game what this game is about, and do you enjoy playing the game? Is rigged hatchers that big of a deal breaker, right? You got to look at this kind of logically instead of going in with the rage and going in with the mob, right? Uh, and I don't particularly like the company or hate the company either way. I mean, the main thing Gumi sells in this game is not the game itself. The game is free to play. The main thing they're selling is paid visitor. So we need to actually separate the two. Like that's their main product. Their main product is free visitor. The game itself is free to play. If you're a free to play player since day one, your account is roughly the same as that of a powerful dolphin or even a powerful whale, to be honest. If you play since day one, you basically have every character, or you're very likely to have every character because there's a lot of these select character tickets, right? So basically, what I'm saying is like, hey, you don't like them, don't buy their Visio, right? Just keep playing the game because playing the game supports the game. Uh, Buying the Visio also supports the game, but if you don't want to support Gumi, don't buy Visio. Just don't kill the game, right? I mean, basically, what this game means to me is to me it's the reincarnation or it's the spiritual successor of Final Fantasy Tactics. And I think that's the main reason a lot of people play this game. It's because Tactics, even though there was the two Game Boy spin-offs, we think Tactics never really had its own successor. And I think this game does Tactics credit, and it does Tactics justice. It has a decent storyline. There's a bunch of characters, interesting war. I think the game does Tactics justice. It lives up to the Final Fantasy Tactics name, even though it didn't get the name. But that's what it is. It's a spiritual successor, and it does its job as such. So, like, if anything, I think the game dying would hurt me more than anything else that the company can pull, right? So I would say like, hey, I'm speaking up on behalf of the game. Don't kill the game. The game is kind of innocent in this situation. Realistically, it's the gacha system, right? The gacha system and the game can be separated. Why? Because mainly you don't even need to pull on the gacha system to play the game. The the company gives you enough free stuff that you can literally have every character if you've played since the beginning until now and not spend a penny. So this paid Visior thing is kind of just a player's choice, right? You chose to spend Visior, so you can buy whatever limited unit or whatever cool stuff comes out. That's a discussion for later. My opinion for Gumi, see them in. I don't particularly feel either way about them. I do think they are fairly generous with one the compensations, like that time when the game crashed for a day and we got compensated a ton for it. Everybody was happy with just 2,000 Visior, but they went above and beyond, to be honest. They gave us a ton of extra stuff. I've been in the game for 2 months and I got Hiroki's gift I think 2 or 3 times, and they've been substantial. The Hiroki gifts are pretty big. So the game gives you enough stuff that you can play the game and be relatively even with a minnow or whale, minnow or dolphin, maybe even whale if you play since the beginning, right? Depending on how much you grind. So I wouldn't say it's a pay to win game. It just so happens that I'm pay to win because I need to catch up to my friend who's been playing since day one. But that's my point, right? The game in and of itself is separate from the Hatcher. The Hatcher is a you can call it whatever you want. It's basically gambling at the end of the day, and people are pissed off about their gambling results. Uh, and that's just the end of it, right? You're pissed off at the gambling results. You can be pissed off because it's rigged, or you can be pissed off because it's less rigged than, or you can be pissed off because you think it's more rigged than you thought it was. For example, if you were going to a casino, generally accepted, the casino has like a slight percent chance of winning, or it's slightly tilted towards the house. So casino usually has like a 5% chance of advantage over the player. If you think of this as a casino or you think of this as gambling, uh, maybe you went in thinking, hey, I have a 5% chance of getting what I want or a 2% chance of getting what I want. It so turned out that it was a 1% chance, and now you're mad. Does it change the difference that you lost or that you didn't get it? No. I mean, at the end of the day, you're still mad that you didn't get what you want, right? Call it what you want. You can say it's rigged because you lost, but at the end of the day, you're mad because of the loss. You're just more mad because it's rigged. Not you're not uh, obviously uh, basically there was anger there to begin with, and this whole it's rigged thing piles on top of that anger. But and it doesn't help that people perceive them as lying. Obviously, the trust is gone. All right, the trust is gone. A lot of big streamers, big whales, not spending money anymore on the game. which I think that would be the right approach to the game. Because if you're a whale, you've at least spent $5,000 on this game, or at least 2 or 3 thousand on this game, and it would make no sense for you to just say, "Hey, I'm dropping the game because I hate the company," all right? Because the game is separate. Like basically, you harm the company by not buying Vizio. What's the point? But by dropping the game, you harm yourself on top of harming the company. Does that make sense? Because if I play your game for free and I stop paying you, I don't I don't get hurt. I enjoy your product and I'm not paying for whatever it is. But if you're quitting the game, people take it to the next level. I'm gonna quit the game. It's like, okay, how much money did you spend on the game in the last 6 months? Well, you ain't getting that back. I mean, people are claiming that if you request a refund, you can get it back. Well, I got it in Amazon coins, so I obviously don't expect to get cash back. Maybe I'll get Amazon coins back, but even then, it's like, well, I got Amazon coins. What can I do with Amazon coins? Spend it on other games? Uh, I think I technically can buy some stuff on Amazon for that money as well. But basically, in my mind, once it's transferred from cash into something else, the money's gone. And if I get it back some other way, I'll just end up spending it on something else. And the way I look at it is like, whatever I was paying for the product at the moment. And whatever it will be in the future does not affect my decision at the time of the purchase. Basically, I some of you know that I fund this game by trading stocks. Um, and a lot of times that's how stock work, right? I buy it right now at 100, maybe 10 minutes from now it'll be at 90. Would I have known that, had I known that it would go to 90, I wouldn't have buy it, but that doesn't matter. The point of life is you make the best decision you believe is correct at the time you make the decision. Because there is no hindsight, there is no foresight. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. You can only do what you think is best now. And basically that's the way I play the game. I bought whatever it was at the time, at whatever rate it was. And to me, whether or not the rates were predetermined didn't mean anything to me, right? And that leads to our next point, whether or not the polls are predetermined. A lot of people are angry because they believe that the polls are predetermined, and maybe I can never get this character in 1,000 votes because my account rolled that way. Well, the counter argument to that game to that is, in this game there are things known as select tickets. You can pick the unit you want with those select tickets. You just won't get them then and there. Uh, Select tickets for them will come out maybe like a month later, and it won't come out if it's a limited unit, right? Most of us are chasing limited units. We're not chasing stuff like, well, there are people that were chasing Glaciella and Laswell. But you can get Glaciella and Laswell now if you bought the Black Friday bundle. And you would have gotten it a lot cheaper than had you got it at the time, right? Because when I rolled for Glaciella, I went from rank 7, Royal 7 to Royal 9, which is close to 500 to 700 bucks, I guess. And and basically what I was doing was, hey, look, I knew what the risk was going in. I knew what I was buying. Uh, and I was buying a chance at this character, right? I wasn't buying the character. And basically, it took me a ton of rolls to get him. And you can even say I'm a victim of the system, which I'm not going to deny I am. But I'm not mad about it because I got him at the end. And imagine if I didn't get him at the end, I would be pretty pissed. Like, I think around 300 or 400 bucks in, I was like, yeah, I'm done. And then I was like, you know what? I spent $300 or $400. There's a sunk cost there. I'm gonna get it, and I did. But like, if I waited a month later, I could have gotten the guaranteed ticket and pulled it. So realistically, how much does predetermined polls hurt you? It only hurts you in terms of limited characters. All right. Let's be honest. It only hurts you in terms of limited characters. If you waited, you would have gotten whatever the hell you wanted because there are select tickets for those. Now, for those limited characters, the way I look at predetermined polls, I look at my life as I look at my life as something that's somewhat predetermined, right? I'll give you an example. Think of it this way, right? Uh, I look at the polls, either I'm gonna get it or I'm not. Either I'm gonna get this job I'm looking for or I'm not. But at the end of the day, I need to do my part, which in this case is poll, or throw out that resume in order to get it, right? I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm never gonna get that job, so why would I? So why would I try, right? At the end of the day, polling is a try. You try to get it, and whatever the odds on the poll rate, the way I look at it is, if it's not 100, I don't care, right? You either get it or you don't. So if it's not guaranteed, and I'm polling on it, then it doesn't matter whether it's 2% or 1%. You either get it or you don't. Like, uh, those percentages just entice people to poll, and that's a lot of people's arguments. It's the percentages entice me to poll, but it's awkward because that's an awkward conversation to have, because you're basically telling people you're unlucky and that their complaints aren't valid. Because realistically, if you're polling on a 2% chance, if a 2% chance is enticing you to poll something, you got gambling addiction problems, right? It's not even that's not even a that's not even a that's not even a rational thing to expect, right? Uh, if I was going into something, if I was gambling, and then basically that's like betting draw in baccarat. You play baccarat, either the banker wins or the player wins, but there is a small chance that it will draw. Or like rolling dice, right? If you roll three dice, I believe under 16 is under under 18 is called is small, over 18 is large, and then of course you have your triples if you roll three sixes. It's like betting dice, and you're betting on rolling three sixes every time. I mean, it's you're gonna lose. Like, you just go in there expecting you to lose. And I went in there knowing what I was in for. I polled because I wanted now I poll because I want videos. But before I polled because I wanted the characters, and I know whole well what my chances of getting them were. So, and basically, are those chances rigged? I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm gonna get them or I'm not gonna get them, and that's the end of the story, right? And realistically, how does and basically people are mad about, like, hey, if I knew that I was never gonna get this unit, I wouldn't have polled 1,000 times. Well, realistically, you shouldn't have polled 1,000 times to begin with. But basically, if you knew I wasn't gonna get that unit, I wasn't gonna poll. You shouldn't. You never know that whether or not you're gonna get that unit, right? At the end of the day, like, we don't know what's gonna happen in the past, and we don't know these kind of hidden algorithms. Uh, and I don't know if my account is gonna get Kane or Rosa. For example, that last one I posted close to 80,000 Visor. I didn't know whether or not I'm gonna get them. I just keep polling until I got them, and that's my mentality, right? And if I don't get them, I don't get them. That it is what it is. So I can't be like, uh, hey, it took me 50 polls when it took me 80 polls, when in reality it should have took me 50 polls because it's 2%. Like, it doesn't work that way. And there's really no way to fix the gotcha system without killing it, right? Let's say if you want to make it so that the pity you get the character for certain, then they're gonna find some other way to get your money. I mean, that's just business, right? Money's got to come from somewhere. I can't be like, oh, hey, you can't be like, oh, we're not gonna let you, uh you can't be like, oh, hey, uh if they give you the character within, because the pity system is about 5 pities, you get the bar full. um they'll make it really hard to get the pity, or or uh or they'll get the money from you somewhere else, because they're gonna lose revenue doing that. And realistically, from the business side, they're not gonna accept that. Or they can do what they did with Ramza, and they put them in the store, or Halloween Leela and Halloween Ryu. They put them in the store, and if you pulled 40,000 times, you pulled 40K Visor, you can buy them outright. That's what they're saying, and I think people will be okay with that as well. But to be honest, uh, it goes into, like, how is the community going to be satisfied here, right? Because trust is gone. Uh, you want compensation, but all the streamers already said, like, hey, compensation will only get you so far. We want some transparency. They're not going to give you the code. So what do you want? Like going forward, you want all the units to come out on the pity? You want all the units to be on the in the shop? I mean, you gotta have a fix to this, right? And that doesn't really fix it without killing the gotcha system. And that might be how they need to fix it. They might need to kill the gotcha system, uh, as a whole. But like I've played plenty of gotcha games, like uh, Pokemon cards is technically a gotcha game. I mean, you're gambling on the packs. The other game that I played was Puzzles and Dragons. That's technically a gotcha game, but and the way to beat the gotcha system is if you're free to play and you kind of just wait it out, you'll eventually get everything. But the people that are spending, they're spending because they want this thing now, not tomorrow. They want it now, and that's why they're spending. They're not spending. Well, I mean, they love the game, but they're spending mostly because they want whatever new unit is now, so they can get a small advantage, or so they can get that arena bonus, or whatever it is. For me, it's so I can make videos. So predetermined polls, it depends on how far you look into predetermined, right? Is this am I in this bucket? Am I ever gonna get into an Ivy League school? Like I don't know, but you need to try. Like you got to find out, and if you're not willing to find out, then you can't be like, then you can't really blame it on predestiny, right? For example, if I'm never gonna get into Harvard, I can't be like, well, I'm never gonna get Harvard, so why am I gonna try in school? It makes no sense. So if you're not polling because you don't like the company and because you don't want to take the risk, right? At the end of the day, you don't want to take the risk. You're not gonna say I'm not polling because the game is rigged. You're not polling because it's rigged and you want to avoid the risk. But here's the question: is to what degree is it rigged? Like clearly people got into character in like 2 or 3 polls. Clearly people got into character within 10 to 30 polls. Uh, but the question here is it's not like you're never gonna get the character, right? It's just a matter of how many polls. And for the Cyber Monday poll, what would my definition of rigged be? Would be the Cyber Monday poll has got separated into 4 or 5 or 6 buckets, all right? Each having 4. So let's say it's 6 buckets, that's 24. Um, if at any point in those buckets, one of the units is not possible, and someone was chasing that unit, in that case it's rigged because then you have no chance of getting that character. If if all of the buckets contained all of the characters, as in all of the buckets combined contained all of the characters, and you rolled on it, then I think that's legitimate because you did get a chance. The chance might not have been as advertised, but regardless of whether or not the chance is as advertised, you can't really get that. You're not going to get that legitimate chance as 2 or 3%, right? So as long as you can get all 27 URs, I don't have an issue with that because you rolled for 4 random URs, you got 4 random URs. Does it matter that somebody else got the 4 random URs as you? Not really. For example, if we were 10 years earlier where this kind of thing where like widespread communication wasn't as prevalent, would you be mad if you got the 4 URs that you did? Yeah, you'd be mad, but you're not gonna say it's rigged. It's only rigged because everybody else got the same thing, right? And basically 4 UR in the grand scheme of things doesn't hurt a whale. I mean, whales are either gonna get mog medals or they're gonna get shards anyway. It doesn't hurt F2P because they're not rolling on that because it's paid. It's paid this year, so they can't. So it only hurts the minnows or the dolphins. Realistically, a dolphin would have already had every unit as well. And whatever you rolled on, I feel like it's better to chalk my losses to RNG than it is to chalk my losses because the system's rigged. Um, and in those situations, I didn't. First, of all, I gotten 3 shards, which I think was pretty good. But had I gotten 4 sets of Mog Metal, I would have been pretty annoyed. And then afterwards it comes out, oh hey, it's rigged. The way I would look at it is just, hey, could I have gotten everybody in the thing? Yes. All right, then it doesn't make a difference to me because then I either get it or I don't. I mean that RNG just gives you an illusion of luck, so to speak. Because at the end of the day, 10% might as well be 2% or 3% or 5%. It doesn't make a difference because 10% you can still legitimately lose all the way down to like 1,000 times. Uh, it's just less likely if it was 10% versus if it was 2%. But it is what it is. Like that's not gonna happen. If it didn't happen, it didn't happen. Um, can you sue Gumi over this? It's America in America. I think there's some rule you can sue them in Japan. And that's probably why they compensated Japan, but not US, but not the global account. And the thing here is, it's America. Everybody can sue everybody for anything. But the important thing, and I'm not gonna get into all the legal mumbo jumbo. I'm just gonna get into the basics of of a court case if you sue somebody, right? At the end of the day, you need to prove damages. How have you been harmed in this situation? I'll give you an example. I'm about 5K in, 5 or 6K in. Basically, I would go to court and say, hey, look, I spent $5,000, $6,000 on this game, and basically, uh, they didn't provide me with the rates that I wanted. Does that make any does that sound like a possible case to you? Like, for example, right? That's similar to if I went to a casino and say, hey, look, I rolled 3 dices, uh, triple six pays out 1,000 times, and theoretically the odds of rolling triple six is 2 to 3%, and I've never rolled it. I didn't roll it in 1,000 rolls. All right. Uh, and then I claim that the game is rigged. Against I sue them. I go to court and hey, the game's rigged, right? Because that's about the odds of it happening, about 2%, 2% chance. Okay, that's about the chances of rolling 3 6s. Let's say, hey, the chances of rolling 3 6s uh is pretty minuscule, close to about 2%. Let's say technically the chances of rolling a triple is close to 2%. Let's say I went to the court and say, hey, I rolled these dice 1,000 times and I never got a triple. Uh, the game's rigged and they need to reimburse me for the amount that I paid. Well, a couple of things. First thing, I bought uh I bought a lot of stuff from the shop for the value. Most of my money is not pulled. But let's say all of my money was pulled. The court basically asks, did you get what you paid for? In the sense that I got the character I wanted? No. But what the game was advertising that I was paying for is I paid for a chance to get this character. And the basically it's saying rigged would be I'm never gonna get the triple when I roll the 3 dice, but I've seen the guy next to me get it 2 times. Uh, Yet I'm still saying, hey, this game's rigged. I don't think a court's gonna take that, right? I don't think they're gonna, even if they, the whole point of damages is even if you win, what do you get out of it, right? Say I have a viable case, say all the evidence is true and that the system is rigged. Like I'll even give you that the system is rigged, right? At the end of the day, I'm gonna sue them, and what's my damages? I don't have any damages because what I was paying for was a chance to get the unit, not the unit itself. And you can say, hey, the chance that I was paying for is inaccurate. But there's really no way to prove the chances of getting that is inaccurate if people actually got it. For example, people actually got King, actually got Rosa, Laswell, Glaciella. People got them. You've seen them get rolled on. You've seen them get summoned live, and people got it. So you can't be like, oh, it's rigged and I'm never gonna get it. Well, the thing here is I don't know if I'm ever gonna get it, and you're suing people on something that's based in the future by saying, hey, I'm predestined never to get this. That makes no sense, right? That would be similar to let's say let's say I paid money in school, right? That's very similar to the US schooling system. Hey, I paid let's say 50K to go to school to get a degree. Uh, but obviously schools these days, I don't think, well, they plan to in the future, but schools these days don't guarantee you a job out of college, right? Let alone a job with X pay, X salary, right? With let's say 100K salary if you paid $50,000 to get the degree. Um, that would be like saying, hey, I paid $50,000 to this school. They advertised there's a 2% chance that I would get into this position for $100,000, and you didn't get it. make you can't sue for damages because you paid for a chance, and I guess that's really the key word here. It's chance and it's RNG, and people don't like to think that they lost because of RNG. It's better to think that they lost because the system is rigged. I'm not gonna get into rigging here. Uh, but basically the idea here is um at the end of the day, right? I don't care if it's rigged. Like, if it's rigged, how are you really harmed by it being rigged, right? Uh, did somebody else pull the unit? Were you able to hold a unit? How much money did you spend to pay how much money did you pay to pull that unit? Has there ever been anyone that really wasn't able to pull that unit? I mean, at the end of the day, that is within the realm of possibility, right? And and like even if you were in one of those buckets where you're not going to get them in 1,000 polls, uh, you could have waited and gotten the select ticket. Uh, and if it was a limited unit, hey, that's rough. You're out of luck. But at the end of the day, you need to know what you're paying for. You're paying for a chance of winning this unit. You're not paying for the unit. You're not paying for 2 or 3 or 4% of getting that unit. Because realistically, those percentages, there's several ways to determine the percentages. One is out of all the units you pull them, or two, on a grander scheme of things, if you want to sue someone, it's going to be, hey, out of all the people that played this game and pulled, was there a 2% chance? And even if you can prove that there was like a 1% chance, I still don't think, I still don't think you would win the case. And even if you do win the case, I don't think you're going to get your money back because at the end of the day, you can't really prove that you were harmed in that way, that the money was lost. Uh, the money realistically was lost to gambling, and that's why you can't really prove damages. I'll just put it at that. Um, so realistically, I just want to say, like, look, I'm not a fan of Gumi. I don't hate him. There are a lot of people that aren't a fan of Gumi, and basically what I just want to say is like, hey, look, keep playing the game. If you want to stick it to them, keep playing the game because in the long run, they pay out enough gifts that like it would even out, it would dilute whatever you paid in there, and that's how you win back your money, so to speak, right? Uh, Quitting the game isn't gonna do jack. Quitting the game only hurts you because you paid for the game. But if you keep playing the game, the money will even out. Keep the game alive. Don't kill the game because killing the game not only hurts you, it hurts everybody else, and that's basically cutting the nose off to spike the face, right? The face pisses you off, you're gonna cut off your nose. You get hurt too. There's no point doing that. So just everybody just keep calm, be zen about it. Don't you wanna not spend, don't spend, don't spend, don't chase limited units, and just wait for those select tickets. I mean, that's how you play the game, right? I mean, I think the game will still survive on its ad revenue, to be honest, and that's kind of how I was hoping that the game would survive. Unfortunately, nowadays, like games make their money off of microtransactions, and if they can't make it, they can't make it, and that's it. Um, so I really hope that we don't kill the game, and regardless of whether or not they compensate us, eventually it will even out from all the gifts. So we should be okay. And basically, I think that really answers: can you sue them? Right? Anyone can sue them over anything. It's just can you win and how much are you gonna get? Those of you that really think, hey, I'm really sick of this crap and I want my money back, there is a refund system. People do request refunds, I think, on Google Play or through Amazon or whatever. First of all, I don't know if you're gonna get your account. I don't know if you're gonna get your money back. I know you're gonna get your account banned. So that's also a gamble, right? You're gonna gamble, hey, I either win big and I gotta get all my money back, or uh, or I get my account completely banned. And obviously, if you're done with the game, you don't really mind getting your account banned. But if I was gonna try and get all my money back, not only did I not get my money back, I got my account banned. That's a double loss, and it's gonna suck. So, uh, I mean, everybody's got to do what's best for them. And in my situation, I'm actually very grateful that to the game, even though I spent a ton of money on it, because it got me into doing YouTube, it got me into streaming. It gave me motivation to do a bunch of extra stuff that I think is worth way more than $5,000. I mean, $5,000 is it's not a small amount of money, and I can probably, if I can trade the $5,000, I probably would have been better to have it make more money for me. But I think this probably enriched my life a little bit more than what the $5,000 could do. And I mean, that's how you view, and it all comes down to how you view the game at the end of the day. All right. That's all I gotta say on this topic. Yeah, I'm expecting a ton of like backlash for this. But again, I only got like 10 subscribers, so like, hey, what's the worst that can happen?